Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Himvar, and today I'm doing my weekly update for the 12th of October already. Um, Liam's Leapings number 148. It's been a good week. I did do a little bit of editing. I don't think I wrote anymore. I've only written in that one story lately. So yeah, I did a little bit of editing. Had a midterm. And I got some okay reading in. Actually, it was pretty much all loaded onto the front end of the week. I have gotten pretty much no reading in the later end of the week. Work has been a little different than late or than normal, and so I am really, really, really tired. And just yeah, sorry, I am doing more than one thing at once. So, anyways, what did I finish this week? Well, the first book I finished was To Speak with Elders by Mike Molman. I was reading this one last week, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, like, they're not like favorites. But most books I read aren't favorites. In fact, if you go look at my Goodreads, I've rated very few books 5 stars this year. Um, that's more stuff in line for favorites, but really enjoyable. I don't have any complaints. It's a very interesting style, but after reading book one, I'm pretty used to it, and I am just kind of along for the ride. I definitely would like to read more by Molman. So, in fact, I think book two technically is not really so much of a sequel to book one, so I haven't read it. So, I'm pretty sure To Speak with Elders is book three, and Protectors of Patani. So, anyways, I did enjoy it. Graham or Grammy or however you say his name is he has much more adventures. It's very high end on like the power and magic thing end of things, but it's not bad, and that means it's still kind of fun. Fun is actually the word I would use to describe it. I think it's fun. They're fun books. So um, I also finished here. I have this one right here. Judgment by Steel, which is in Faded in Serkamon. That is the ninth story in here, I believe. And there are 11, I think. So I might be wrong on my math there, but I've already read a good chunk of it. Judgment by Steel is the longest one. So I thought also give more attention to the stories of Faded and Serkamon. And so reviewing one would help. And so I'll mention it here. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a very fun, swashbuckling adventure. Medieval stories. The stories themselves are historical fiction. They were written about 100 years ago, but very, very fun, honestly. I like Broder a lot. Um, I think he has a very simple way with words. He really cuts to the chase. It's pretty normal for pulps at the time as well, um, but I think his historical understanding really helps him as well. He was a philologist, actually, like Tolkien. So, though he's not nearly as popular as Tolkien, he didn't write fantasy so much. Some of his historical fiction is bordering on fantasy, but it's not like fantastic, if that makes sense. I don't know, hard to describe. But so yeah, very much enjoyed Fate and Serkamon. This one only follows Serkamon, who is a troubadour, originally from Gascony. I think he's first introduced in the county of Toulouse when Faded is the main character. Um, in the previous story, Serkamon was up north in Anjou, maybe Poitiers. I don't know, somewhere in Aquitaine. The territories of Aquitaine, I should say. This is, of course, the time of Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the most powerful women in medieval history. So, or just world history, I guess, even. So yeah, it's fun. This time though, it's down in Barcelona, and the problem is with Navarre and maybe Aragon. So, anyways, good stuff. I also finally read Frankenstein, which is a book I've been meaning to read for a while. And what's funny actually is and I was talking to T about this is that because he was reading it as well. I got the idea from T. I read an okay amount of Gothic stories. I read Dracula years and years ago, first time, and this is seems more in line with something like Dracula than more less of the romance variety like the Castle of Otranto or the Mysteries of Rodolfo. But a classic for a reason. I don't think it's the first sci-fi novel. I think that is silly. Um, and it is interesting, actually, surprisingly, how little I knew going in. And so it was very enjoyable. It definitely has that gothic sense to it. A lot of introspective dread, and not really all that scary in a lot of ways. I mean, if it was reality, yeah, it would be pretty scary. And I think it really hits the uncanny valley aspects really well. In fact, that's even mentioned in the book. But one thing it's not, and that I think a lot of modern ideas seem to get, is that the monster is not he's not the good guy. Um, okay, Frankenstein is definitely he definitely has his faults, but actually he spends like the whole book regretting his faults and trying to rectify them. Um, the monster, on the other hand, makes some mistakes. You do feel for him a little bit, and then now knowing those first mistakes were bad, were actually bad things, he then purposely does them. He is a monster. Essentially, he is very demonic. Actually, he is not a good guy. So I just think that's interesting that I did not gather that from the random thoughts I'd heard about the book over the years. So, but it was very enjoyable and not very long either. Shelley definitely has a way with words, I think, in a rather simple but effective manner, just like her husband. So, but this is the first thing I've read by her. I've read, uh, it's been a minute actually, but I've read some things by Percy Shelley. So, anyways, the last book I finished this week was The Mage and the Iron Mask by Brian Thompson. This book is okay. It's very middle of the road. Forgotten Realms. You could start here, by the way. Obviously, it's playing on some Dumas stuff. Um, it's not bad. The main character is Volo Thampgadarm, and if you know Forgotten Realms, you know who Volo is probably. And I think it's probably in some ways a sequel to Once Around the Realms. I think is what it's called. Released the year before this. Also, the main character is Volo and written by the same guy. So I have not read that though. And it was okay. The biggest pluses for it are that it takes place in a place that I've never read a book in. Actually, is Mulmaster on the Moon Sea. The Moon Sea hasn't been a really popular place for the books I've read. I mean, you have like sometimes Hills Far shows up, Resental Keep, right? In one of the Avatar books, is it Prince of Lies, I think. In Flan, of course, in the Heroes of Flan trilogy, surprise. But Mulmaster, not so much. I guess you're kind of in the Moonsea area as well, and like Soldiers of Ice, but again, it doesn't pop up a ton. And so I like getting this idea of Mulmaster as its own independent city state, but also in relation to like Eltabar, which is a Tharch and a city. That's the capital of the Tharch of Thay, which is very interesting. So, anyways, yeah. But overall, it's not like a big favorite. Like, really overplays like the sexual aspect. Like, I can't. I I don't. I probably. I would be interested to count how many times people look at this one woman's cleavage. Um, and it's just the whole humor of it doesn't work very well. The language of it also doesn't. I mean, like using the verb shanghaied just doesn't work. Sorry, in a secondary world. Anyways, so those are the four books I finished: The Speak with Elders, Judgment by Steel, Frankenstein, and The Mage and the Iron Mask. It's kind of hard to gauge. My least favorite for sure is The Mage and the Iron Mask. I don't know if I can judge the other ones as a favorite for the week. They're all very different, and so it's kind of hard for me to gauge. But as far as enjoyment goes, I can definitely say I enjoyed The Mage and the Iron Mask the least. At least it was short. The other stuff I'm reading, I don't know if I've read any of the Pillars of the Earth this week. I kind of forgot actually in last second. Well, I've been reading a couple books digitally, and that hasn't helped. I've been reading a few books digitally, and I can't remember what one it was. And so I was like going back and forth, and I was like, oh, I want to read Pillars of the Earth still. Um, and I don't know how much I've read. I think I have read more because I think I was about 50 pages in, 20 pages in last time, but now I'm about 100. It's really slow to get going. And again, it's like very, I don't know, like I don't feel like, I don't know, someone can confirm. I do not think Follett is religious, and I think that is evident. At least if I'm wrong on that, then I'd be a little surprised. But I think he's doing an okay job, at least though. So, anyways, and then so I am enjoying that, but I haven't. I had to put it down for a couple other books that I need to prioritize, and one of those is Last Sword of Power by David Gemmell, which I was reading with T. I'm actually almost done with this, so I might even finish it right after recording this. So, um, I'm really recording. I'm really close to finishing. Sorry, I'm really tired. And um, you know what? I just realized I meant to say something in the very beginning of this, so let me say it at the end instead, and um, maybe you'll notice if anyone watches to the end. Um, but yeah, Last Sword of Power, a sequel to Ghost King. A very interesting take on Arthuriana. Very, very interesting. It's just kind of using it as a sandbox more than, like, I wouldn't call it a retelling. I wouldn't say it's like playing on very specific versions of the legends. But yeah, very interesting and enjoyable. It is enjoyable. Not my favorite Gemmell. Gemmell is actually, I don't know, because I've been reading him for a number of years now, almost 5 years probably, and he's just impressed me less every time I read one of his books. I really loved Against the Horde, or Legend as it's called. My copy is Against the Horde, but um, really loved it. And then the next book was good. I really enjoyed it still, but I didn't enjoy it as much. And then Waylander, I didn't enjoy a ton either. I enjoyed it, sure, but it wasn't like great. And then Ghost King, and then Last Sword of Power. They're both okay. I appreciate what they're doing, but for some reason, just I don't know. I guess I look for something more in some ways. Gemmell really excels at the simple style that he does, right? And it's, I don't know. There's just something that's like not super gripping about Gemmell in my mind. He kind of reminds me of Brandon Sanderson in some ways. Also Zelazny though, but Zelazny doesn't have this problem. So, anyways, I am enjoying Last Sword of Power though. I will say that. Like it is enjoyable enough. They're short. He's really easy to read, and it's a very interesting take on the story. So, also I am um, I'm about halfway through History of the Kings of Britain by Geoffrey Monmouth. I cannot remember if I mentioned this last week. I have not read a look at this week. I read this all last week. I read half of it last week, and I haven't read a single page of it this week. So, but I am enjoying it. Not even to the Arthurian stuff yet, by the way, if you haven't read it. I'm also, and I think I had started this last week, True Names by Werner Vinge. I'm really not that far into it. Let's see. Oh my, yeah, like 4 pages in. Not even worth mentioning yet, pretty much. Again, other things have been taking my attention. I've been rather busy, but um, so yes, I'm still reading Pillars of Earth, History of the Kings of Britain, True Names, Last Sword of Power. Oh, the other two things I started this week, The Sorcerer's House by Gene Wolfe. I'm not very far into this one either, but it's about a guy who moves into a house before he owns it, kind of, and he is somehow then magically, seemingly, made the actual like heir of the house. And of course, this house was previously owned by a sorcerer. Surprise! So, as far as I'm aware, and what I hear, it is rather straightforward for a Gene Wolfe book, and so it's kind of sounds nice because I like Gene Wolfe, but sometimes he just takes a lot of energy for me, even though he's very enjoyable. Um, just regardless if I'm getting it or not, I'm picking up what he's putting down. But so I am enjoying the Sorcerer's House, but again, I'm not very far in it. I'm like maybe like an eighth of the way through, maybe. And that's not very far. Anyway, so and then the last book I'm in, again, I'm not very far into it, but maybe I'm like a fifth of the way through this one actually. Is The Familiar Spirit by Aaron Michael Ritchie and DJ Butler. This came out on Tuesday. and so I am happy to have it, and to be reading it. I'm reading it digitally. I'm too broke to pretty much buy um, most things, so I am on Bane's list. So anytime I review a Bane book, essentially, I have been received it from the publisher. But um, yes, The Familiar Spirit. I'm enjoying it. The premise of this, actually, I'm going to review this, and I'll probably review it relatively soon, in the coming weeks, because I did not review the first two, and I regret that. I did not review the first one because I hadn't started my channel, though I should have reviewed it after I started my channel, because I did do that. I reviewed some books that I had read somewhat recently when I started my channel, like Empire of Silence. In fact, I did not. That was not finished right when I started my channel. I had finished that some months ago or some months before. Um, and then I finished Jupiter Knife shortly after starting my channel, and I didn't review it because I didn't review the first book, and I should have done it. I should have done it anyways. Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. Follows a sorcerer, essentially, if you will, cunning man, um, from Utah. In Utah, normally in the first two books, he's in Helper, and then in Moab, and he's from Lehi. And but in this one, it starts out in El Paso, and now they're in Colonia Juarez, which is in Chihuahua, Mexico, which is where I believe the main chunk of the story is going to take place. And Colonia Juarez is one of two surviving, at its time, even then, only two surviving colonies by the Mormons in Mexico. They had colonies in Chihuahua and Sonora, I think, but only the two in Chihuahua survived. And which is interesting. I've never been, actually. I lived relatively close by when I lived in Arizona, but never went down to Mexico, actually. Um, but I know of the colonies because I did go to school at Eastern Arizona College, and there was a decent amount of kids from the colonies there, which is very interesting. So, anyways, so I am enjoying The Familiar Spirit, but I'm not very far in yet. I do feel like it is appropriate to read this season. I don't really have much in mind of reading spooky books, but reading this one after work, and I'm completely exhausted. I'm staying up later than I should and reading like a chapter or whatever, and getting slightly spooked out or whatever. So, and again, I'm not very far into it yet. The first book kind of dealt with witches, and the second one, witch and demons. And the second one with like shapeshifters. So, anyways, yeah, I'm enjoying it. This is The Familiar Spirit is definitely one of those books that is just well written, um, and well researched. I think it comes off very authentic, and it doesn't come off really like anything else I've read. So, uh, so you could kind of call it urban fantasy, though it's not really at all either. So, anyways, now what I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, I mentioned in a post earlier this week on my channel. I don't know how often people see posts, or if they really see them, if they just scroll past them or whatever. Um, I think I've actually had the ability to create channel memberships for a minute, but I only just created them, um, and I don't even remember why. I'm too tired to think. I did it. It sounded like a good idea at the time, um, and uh, and I only made one tier. Essentially, the perk right now, I have a couple emojis, but emojis, I believe, for memberships are only available during live streams, and I don't admittedly stream that much, but I do stream some. Um, but you also get a badge next to your name, and you will be able to watch my videos early. So, like, as of recording this, I think I have 6 videos uploaded that are not public yet, because I normally record them oftentimes a couple weeks in advance. So, um, so that is like the main perk. I might come out with some like members only shorts. I don't know if I'd come out with any members only like video like this, but yes. So I did want to thank I actually have some people already signed up for membership. So I want to thank Christopher H. Uh, Monsundo, I think. Yeah, I need to double check it now. Yeah, Monsundo and Humanoid. So thank you already for uh, channel members. I do appreciate the support a lot, actually. It means a lot because this is what I like to do in some ways, and then it takes a lot of energy, even though I don't edit these very much at all. But so if you're interested in either supporting me, I don't want to exclude people from things, so that's why it's mostly you'll get stuff early, but all those videos are going to still be available to other people. I mean, maybe some shorts, but again, because shorts don't feel like that much of something like I'm excluding people from. Speaking of shorts, though, and I did kind of want to talk about this too, is I did start a new series of shorts this week, and it actually kind of goes with my Hobbit Day video I did, the etymology of Hobbit. Um, that these are kind of they're shorts about sort of focus on etymology, largely focused on expanding vocabulary. So I've done two, one on the word aurochs, and then one on synonyms for arrow. They've done both. I would say well. I mean, well for me at least, and seemingly well received. And so there are more of those coming when I'm less tired. I didn't record any during work days, but so yeah. If that is your thing, I do appreciate T for kind of pushing me over the edge. To kind of because I was mentioning the T. I have a list of archaisms that are right around 1,500 words. That's the list, right? And I've been making that list for years. I constantly expand it, and I had thought about making videos of this sort for a while, but I wasn't really sure exactly how to go about it. And all of a sudden, I had like a eureka moment when I was talking to T about it. I was like, you know what? Like, I just talk about a word. I don't need to do it any order, just random, whatever. And several words at once, even in many ways. And then and kind of use it as like a writing advice almost, if that's what you want. Like if you're looking to expand your vocabulary, if you read my writing, I use some ridiculous vocabulary. I like that. I like reading stories like that. I know some people probably find it annoying. In fact, I just got my first review back for Sphinx, that little competition for novellas. I put Dreamer Awaken, which I don't think I mentioned here actually, and it was a good review. I appreciate it. It was 3 stars out of 5, and but like the one comment was the language, making it a little difficult to get into, I think, and that's fine. I mean, it's not for everyone. I don't regret writing the story that way. So, um, anyways, thanks for watching. This is too long. I'm gonna stop now. What have you been reading this week? Hopefully, I'll have some more videos for your enjoyment. Catch you next time.